days of peace and days of rest, in times of loss and loneliness.
Psalms 137, verse 4 reads this way: How shall we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? The context of the story is actually there in the beginning part of the passage. It reads this way: By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, we wept. When we remembered Zion, we hung our harps upon the willows in the midst of it. Israelites were taken as captives from their home, and they were put forced labor and slavery in Babylon. And while they were there in Babylon, they were filled with sorrow, remembering how their lives were, and they were so disoriented that they really didn't know how to worship God. They were set apart from each other. They were distant, and they didn't have community. They didn't have the old temple. They didn't have the old ritualistic worship methods that they were aware about. There was no more priest. It was all disoriented. They really had no clue how to figure out this phase of their life. Many times, this is probably the state of our life that we at times pass through, that we really do not know how to worship God in this state. We have heard about God, we have had a lot of theological understanding of who God is, but at this current season, we were just not prepared. It's a strange, it's a foreign place to us. I love this way of this quote of Adrian Judson, a missionary to Burma. The Lord used to very powerfully translate the Bible to the localites there, but he had to go to the Lord of personal grief. And one of those griefs he quotes this way. He puts this quote: God is to me the great unknown. I believe in him, but I find him not. We believe in God, we believe in his promises, but somehow in this state of our life, we are just not able to connect with his promises and the reality of life that we go through. How do we deal with that? A lot of time, I know, being in Christian circles, we have so much of this taboo of not to feel sad, being always having the cheerful, face. But Bible is so vocal about lamentations. We even have a book just for lamentation. Psalmist is so vocal about expressing the emotions that he go through. We could be depressed, we could be sad. The first thing that we got to know is to come into the Lord's presence and be open to the Lord. Lord, yes, I really don't know, as the Israelites told. We really have no clue how to figure this out. As we tell, as to add oil into the fire, the Babylonians there mocked them by telling, why don't you sing the Lord's song here? And it does not stop there. Even their co-brothers, Edomites, they also added to that. In the face of our life, when we go through this uncharted territories that we have no clue, we are not prepared, we would have many of our friends, our colleagues, or probably even our spiritual mates who would just mock you. Like, why don't you sing? Why are you not cheerful? And you just are so much broken within your heart. Friends, let me tell you, you're not the first person to go through. I'm not saying that wouldn't probably put off the sorrow. Let's look into the Old Testament side. We see how Joseph was thrown into exile in one way. He was deported from his home. You see him in the dry well with the slave traders, in the prison, and so many different places. He was able to embrace the change. At times we might not have all the comfort that comes in our life, but Bible talks about the tree that bears fruit on and off the season because the roots are connected strong. Even while Joseph didn't have all the comfort, he ensured that his heart was connected with the Lord. The same thing with Daniel. Even he was thrown into Babylon. All in a time he is all alone there. But we read this way: Daniel every day ensured that he would open his windows, look into Jerusalem, and would open his eyes and lift up his hands to pray to the God of Jerusalem. Even while we are in this foreign land, we might not have a lot of time community members and all of them to support in the lonely struggle and the battles that we go through. But as how Daniel was able to cherish the memories of the temple and look each day and go through that, can we have that heart to look into the Lord? Even while we might be a time like in Babylon, we have not been prepared to deal with this storm that came in all the way, that set us apart. But embracing that, even while they were in Babylon, people like Daniel, the Hebrew boys, They didn't stop themselves from worshiping the God. They probably figured out a different way. It was a different form in which they started connecting with the Lord, but they allowed that to come into them. They weren't stopping in the past. This is how life works. Yes, this is a new phase, but I'll continue to trust in the Lord that He will give me the peace and the grace to survive this too. And again, if you read the Psalms there, you will see they made a commitment. Oh, we will not forget Jerusalem. They made a commitment and a vow. Even while they lost all their external evidences of hope, they still cherished on it. And in the larger portions, when you read on how they cherished the hope of redemption that they had at the end of 70th year or different exile period, there is a prophetical voice. You know what? You will return back. And we are, as to New Testament believers, we understand it's just not just a phase of our life. This world and this journey that we live in is not our home. We long for that day that our Lord Jesus Christ will call us home, and there will be no more tears in that place. But as we go through these trying times, you might not know how to worship God in this place. Would you open yourself and ask the Lord, Lord, give me the grace. I need peace and strength from above. And embrace the change. When I tell embrace the change, I'm not telling to dilute your principles and values, but even amidst this season, even amidst being in Babylon, even while being mocked by people around, as Hannah was able to come to the presence of the Lord and pour, and as she was able to pour her heart, even while you sit near the rivers of Babylon, weeping, still trying to process, Lord, how, where, all big questions. But would you still continue to look on to the Lord? He will lead you forth. And we wait for a greater day of redemption. And that would come through. And it will be soon a past story that we will cherish how the Lord has led us. May God bless us with His words. Thank you.